If you have ever felt like you had to beg someone to see your worth, stop right there. This might hurt, but it could change your life. The moment you start begging for value, you lose it. The moment you chase validation, you tell the world you don't believe in yourself. And today, we are ending that. Picture this. A man standing outside a closed door. He keeps knocking. He keeps explaining why he deserves to be let in. He promises he will be loyal. He promises he will work harder. He promises he will change. But the door never opens. Now, let me ask you something. If someone truly valued him, would he need to knock that hard? Too many people live like that man. They beg for attention in relationships. They beg for respect at work. They beg friends to stay. They beg family to understand. They beg the world to notice them. And slowly, without realizing it, they shrink. Stop begging for value. Value is not something you request. It is something you carry. When you beg, you are telling people, I don't think I'm enough unless you confirm it. And the world responds to that energy. If you act unsure, people treat you as unsure. If you act desperate, people treat you as replaceable. Let me tell you a short story. There were two men working at the same company. One of them constantly tried to please everyone. He said yes to extra work, even when he was exhausted. He apologized for mistakes that were not even his. He laughed at jokes he didn't find funny. He feared losing his job, so he kept proving himself over and over. The other man did his job well. He respected his time. He spoke clearly. If something wasn't fair, he addressed it calmly. He didn't chase praise. He didn't beg for recognition. Guess who got promoted? Not the one who begged, because people don't promote desperation. They promote confidence. They reward clarity. They respect boundaries. And this doesn't just apply to work. It applies to love, friendship, and life. Have you ever sent that extra message after someone ignored you? Have you ever explained yourself 10 times just to make someone stay? Have you ever lowered your standards because you were afraid to be alone? That is begging for value. And I say this with respect, not judgment. Most of us have done it. We were not taught so. We were taught approval. From a young age, we were rewarded for pleasing others. Good grades meant praise. Being quiet meant approval. Following rules meant acceptance. So we learned something dangerous. If I perform well, I am valuable. But your value is not performance-based. You are not a product. You are not a discount item on a shelf hoping someone picks you. You are the store. Let that sink in. When you know your value, your behavior changes. You stop over-explaining. You stop over-giving. You stop chasing people who show you clearly that they are not interested. You don't beg for a seat at the table. If there's no seat, you build your own table. Right now, if this message is hitting you, take 1 second. Like this video and subscribe to English, not just to support the channel, but to remind yourself that you are choosing growth. Every time you engage with content that builds your mindset, you are investing in yourself. Now let's go deeper. Why do we beg for value? Fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of being rejected. Fear of not being enough. But here's the truth. Most people won't tell you. The more you beg someone to stay, the more they feel they can leave. The more you prove yourself unnecessarily, the more people question your worth. Confidence is quiet. Desperation is loud. Think about someone you truly respect. Maybe it's a leader. Maybe it's an athlete. Maybe it's someone in your personal life. Do they beg for attention? Do they chase approval? No. They walk in the room knowing who they are. And that energy shifts everything. There's a difference between effort and begging. Effort is healthy. Effort is mutual. Effort says, I care about this. Begging says, please don't leave me. One is strength. The other is fear. I once heard about a man who stayed in a relationship for years where he was constantly ignored. He planned dates. He bought gifts. He changed his personality to avoid arguments. Every time his partner pulled away, he tried harder. One day, she finally left. And for the first time in years, he felt pain, but also relief. Why? Relief? Because deep down, he was exhausted from auditioning for a role he already had. Some of you are auditioning in your own lives. Auditioning to be respected. Auditioning to be loved. Auditioning to be included. Stop auditioning. If someone has to be convinced to value you, they never truly will. Here is a powerful shift. Instead of asking, how can I make them see my worth? Ask, why am I trying so hard to be seen by someone who doesn't look? That question changes everything. When you stop begging for value, something uncomfortable happens first. Silence. Distance. Space. Some people will leave. Some opportunities will disappear. And that's okay. Because anything that requires you to shrink is not meant for you. The world tests you. It checks how much you tolerate. If you tolerate disrespect, you get more of it. If you tolerate being ignored, you get less attention. But when you quietly remove yourself from low-value situations, people notice. And even if they don't, you do. Self-respect feels different. It feels calm. It feels solid. It feels steady. It's the ability to walk away without explaining your entire life story. It's the ability to say, this doesn't work for me, without anger. It's the ability to be alone without feeling lonely. Let's talk about being alone for a moment. Many people beg for value because they're afraid of being alone. But being alone is not the same as being unwanted. Sometimes, being alone is the reset your mind needs. When you sit with yourself, without distractions, without chasing anyone, you start to see your patterns. You start to understand your triggers. You start to build real confidence, not the kind that depends on compliments. Real confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. When you say you'll wake up early and you do it. When you say you'll hit the gym and you show up. When you say you won't text them again and you don't. That last one is hard. But discipline builds dignity, and dignity attracts respect. Imagine two versions of you. Version 1 keeps calling, keeps explaining, keeps chasing. Version 2 sends one message, gets no reply, and moves on. Which one feels stronger? Which one feels stable? Exactly. Your silence can be powerful. Not silent treatment. Not games. Just peace. When you stop begging, you free up energy. Energy that can be used to build your body, your mind, your career, your purpose. Because here's something most people realize too late. The person you were begging might not even be your biggest opportunity. You were just focused on them. While you were knocking on one closed door, another door was wide open behind you. But you were too busy begging. Let's bring this home. If someone constantly cancels on you, believe the pattern. If your boss keeps overlooking you, update your resume. If your friends only call when they need something, adjust your access. If your partner makes you feel small, question the relationship. Value is shown in actions, not words. Stop listening to promises. Watch behavior. The strongest people are not the loudest. They are the ones who can walk away from what doesn't align, and walking away is not losing. Begging is losing. Choosing yourself is winning. Right now, think about one area of your life where you are begging for value. Maybe it's subtle. Maybe it's obvious. Be honest with yourself. What would happen if you stopped? What would happen if you pulled your energy back and invested it into yourself for 30 days? 30 days of no chasing. 30 days of self-improvement. 30 days of boundaries. Your entire life could shift. And here's the secret. When you stop begging, the right people often step forward. Not because you forced them, but because your energy changed. You can't attract respect while accepting disrespect. You can't attract loyalty while tolerating lies. You can't attract high standards while living with low ones. It starts with you. Stop over-explaining. Stop over-apologizing. Stop over-giving. Start building. Start growing. Start choosing. And if someone says you've changed, smile. Growth looks like distance to people who benefited from your insecurity. Let that line stay with you. Before we close, I want you to understand something clearly. This is not about ego. It's not about acting cold or arrogant. It's about balance. It's about knowing when effort becomes desperation. Healthy relationships don't require begging. Healthy workplaces don't require humiliation. Healthy friendships don't require constant proof. If you found yourself in this message, don't feel ashamed. Feel aware. Awareness is the first step to power. And power doesn't shout, it stands. If this message made you think, drop a comment below and tell me where you decided to stop begging for value. Your story might inspire someone else who feels stuck right now. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it but won't admit it. This is Englishshortandstories, and we don't chase worth here. We build Italiano. Remember, you are not here to convince the world you matter. You are here to live in a way that proves you already do. Stop knocking on closed doors. Start building your own.